Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. So as you can tell from the title of the video, today's video is going to be pretty basic and pretty direct and straightforward as to how to achieve a beautiful look for everyday wear, because obviously not every day we can be able to do like the heavy contouring or the heavy powder and the baking and all of that. So today I'm just going to show you guys how you can be able to look nice but with the least amount of steps possible. Okay, so if you are ready, let's get into the video. Okay, so as you can see, I already did my brows off camera. The first thing that we're going to be doing is going in with moisturizer. I would recommend if you are a pro or if you know how to and you don't have a lot of time, I would recommend going in with your face first. That means you go in with your moisturizer, your primer, your foundation, powder and all of that, and then go in with your eyes. But if you're not a pro, I would recommend going in first and doing your eyes not off camera, doing your eyes first and then coming to your face. But today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that. So we'll do our eyes first and then we'll come to our face, just so I can show you guys a beginner friendly way as to how to do it. But before then, I had wiped clean my face, so I don't want to start up doing anything on my eyes or anywhere else without my face having moisture and experiencing that plump, prepping of the skin in preparation for makeup. So for moisturizer, as you guys know, I really like using this. This is the Nivea cream moisturizer. It comes in a blue tin. If you are in Nairobi, Kenya, you can get this at most supermarkets at the counter for makeup, and this size goes for around maybe 280 shillings. But if you are outside, maybe look for places that stock Nivea and you'll be able to get it. So I'm gonna just take a nice generous amount. I always say, regardless of whether you have oily skin or dry skin, normal skin, combination skin, it is important to moisturize. And I know you're asking yourself, especially if you have like oily skin, why is it important for me to moisturize? So whenever you're doing your skincare or your makeup and then you skip the step of moisturizing, what automatically it tells your skin is that, help, we need some moisture. Okay, so your skin automatically goes into the moisture or oil producing process, and you end up looking oilier, than you would have had you moisturized. So what I would advise you to do is, yes, do moisturize, but also look for a moisturizer that is tailor-made to your skin tone. And what do I mean by that? So for example, if you have oily skin, then you want to look for a moisturizer that is oil-free. Look for those words on packaging, oil-free. That one is going to give you that moisture without adding any extra oils to your face, and you're going to end up having a more beautiful base, as opposed to skipping the process of moisturizer. So I'm just going to massage this gently into my skin. The texture of it is a bit, as you guys can see, a little sticky, which is beautiful for most skin types. Actually, I use this for almost all my clients, and for my drier skin clients, what I tend to do is I would go in with a layer of 2 of that. And alternatively, if I do have a client that has oily skin and maybe they don't like using this one, I would go in with the simple hydrating moisturizer, because when it dries down, it does have that mattifying effect. So I'm just gonna blend this all in, guys. Today was the first day I'm wearing this wig from buying it. So Michelle Lindani, I was over there, I cut the wig, and then I let it go to Big Lou. Okay, I lay it here, wig inafika hapa. Anyway, we learn. So let me just quickly massage this into my skin, and then I'll come back again, and then for the second step of our makeup. So we are back. If you do not have enough time to allow your moisturizer to sit nicely and be properly tacky for your next step, what I would recommend you doing is using a beauty blender, just a damp beauty blender, and then you run it through water, and then you squeeze out all the water, and then put it in a towel, and then squeeze out all the water again, so it will have this sort of spongy texture. So what I would recommend is you going back in with your beauty blender. If you feel like you don't have enough time or you want to speeden up the process, this does help. So everything is nice and ready for my second process. So for the second thing, I'm going to be going in with primer. I did mention this, I think, in an earlier video where somebody had really tried to convince me or tell me that you don't need primer. And as I said, it is true. You do not have to use primer, but it is fundamental in how your makeup look turns out. And if you're not a fan of primer, then what I would advise you to do is look for a moisturizer that has properties as a primer. And by that, I mean it has that tackiness, and when a moisturizer has a tackiness, then it's able to adhere better, or your foundation is able to adhere better to your skin because of that extra layer of tackiness, because you have skipped the primer. But I would not recommend skipping a primer, but it's all up to you. So for today, we're going to be using this. This is the Divas Cosmetics Pore Perfecting Face Primer. And it's basically to smoothen out any texture on my face and to ensure that I have a nice smooth canvas to work on even before I apply my moisturizer. So the thing with primer is you don't have to apply it everywhere, but I would recommend, if you are not a fan of applying it everywhere and just applying it on the areas that need applying, that need a little bit of, loving. What I would recommend is, you see, I've spread it all over most of my face. So the residue that is on my fingers, that's what I would go in and then massage the areas that haven't gotten the primer. The reason that I would recommend this is because once you're going in with your foundation, look at it in terms of, like, for example, on my hand. So on this side, you've applied your moisturizer, you've applied your primer, and then you've applied your foundation. And on this other side, you've applied your moisturizer and your primer and your moisturizer only, and it doesn't have primer. So you see, because this surface and this surface, they have different products that are on. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes what tends to happen is, if you don't sort of spread out the primer, the remaining primer in the areas that didn't get the first contact, what tends to happen is your foundation base doesn't look as neat as it would have had you just spread out the rest of the primer. So again, I'm going to go in with my beauty blender and then just press everything in, making sure also underneath your eyes you get it. And then, guys, if you have or struggle with under eye creasing, what I would recommend doing is going in with a little extra layer of loving or moisturizer, because sometimes what the under eye creasing is because of, or is due to, is because of lack of moisture. Because sometimes we tend to do everything on our face and then we forget that little part underneath our eyes. So always make sure to just give it a little bit of loving, just so you can get the best result possible. I will be doing a separate video on that soon. And if there's anywhere that you guys struggle in terms of makeup, definitely let me know so that I can so that I can do videos on that and show you guys how you can be able to make your foundation look as beautiful as possible. So we're back into our next process. So one of the reasons that makes this routine really fast is because I combine like 2 or 3 steps into one, just so you can be able to save on time. Because ideally in the morning when you're going to work, you don't have like a whole hour to prepare. Maybe if you have that 20-30 minutes, or even sometimes 10 minutes. So this is a simple way that you can be able to get your makeup looking good and still save on time. So after the primer, everything is nice and tacky and ready for application of our cream products. What I'm going to be going in with is concealer. This is the LA Girl Pro Conceal in the shade Cool Tan. And what I'm going to do is just apply a little bit of it underneath my eyes, because as you guys can see, I have this little under eye lines. I don't know if they have like a name, but so I'm going to just apply it over there, and then make sure not to apply too much also. And as you can see, I'm not going in all the way till where my eye is, just on this area over here. And then I'm going to do just in the usual places that you would do your concealer. I'm going to be doing here. And not to worry, guys, we are not going to skip foundation. We are going to combine the foundation and concealer steps into one. And if you see me looking up, it's because my ring light has a mirror on top. I'm going to put it over there. And then I'm going to be going in with our foundation. So the foundation that we are using today is a combination of two really amazing foundations that I'm using right now. These ones, I use them when I want like that really nice hydrating look. And when I want to have a very matte look, or I know it's going to be a hot day, what I would go in with is this. This is a stick foundation from Flory Roberts in the shade Gazelle. And then for my contour, I would use Java. So what I'm going to do is combine these two. This is Divas Cosmetics in the shade Bronze 4. And this is Illegal Pro Matte in the shade, I think, Caramel. Yes, Caramel. Okay, this is another thing when it comes to mixing of foundations. Ideally, it's proper to mix foundations that have similar formulations. By that, I mean a hydrating foundation with a hydrating foundation. Sometimes it's not always possible, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Because this is a hydrating foundation with a nice glowy finish to it. And this is a matte foundation that has a very nice matte finish to it. But now, the two colors combined are my exact color because especially after baby, I got a little bit lighter. So I wasn't using the Bronze 4, it was a bit darker on me. And the Illegal is a bit light, so I just mixed the two. So in that case, I have tested it out and I've seen that it works by sort of evening out the over glowiness and also evening out the over matteness. So it just has a beautiful finish. I'm going to show you guys what I mean in a minute. This is another thing about application of foundation. If you have enough time, you can always go in with your beauty blender and blend everything out. But this is under the assumption that you don't have a lot of time that you're working with. So what I like to do when I don't have a lot of time for, you know, a full, what's it called, beauty blender beat. Oh, and I put it too far because I usually don't put foundation all the way there. Do you guys see? I tried cutting like baby hairs on this hair. Hey, Michelle. I need classes on wig cutting and baby hair making. So what I would do is, what I'm going to do rather is, I'm going to blend it out with my beauty blender. Avoiding the areas that have concealer at first. I'm just going to blend everything out. And then when I like the blend of everything is when I'm going to come in and then just blend out the areas that have concealer. I am also putting some of that product onto my eyes, onto my eyelids, just so I can be able to save on time and not have to put again eyeshadow primer or concealer for my eyeshadow prep. So I'm just blending everything nicely. And I know it actually seems like we are doing the exact opposite because we are putting that on top of the concealer. But what tends to happen is because we had concealer underneath, is it does look brighter than the other areas that only had foundation. So I'm going to finish blending. And in today's look, we're not going to be doing cream contouring because we are under the assumption that you don't have a lot of time that you're working with in the morning. So we're just going to do the basics. So I finished blending that out. Now I'm going to go in with my beauty blender and then blend everything out. The reason that I like going in with a brush first before a beauty blender is because the brush sort of spreads out the product for me, and then the beauty blender comes and then blends everything out, and so that it can look nice and seamless. Another reason I also love using a beauty blender afterwards is because sometimes we do tend to put a lot of product on our face that in terms of foundation or concealer. So what the beauty blender does, because it's a sponge, it absorbs any excess cream product that you may have put on your face, and then it makes sure that you're left with just enough. And again, guys, when you're blending, always make sure that you go and blend a little bit on your ears and on your neck. I do know that maybe the foundation might not look exactly like my color, but the thing with some foundations is that, and this I will talk about when I'm talking about foundations and everything that you need to know. Sometimes don't always be fooled by how the foundation looks on first application. By that I mean there are some foundations that oxidize, meaning they darken a little bit when they're in contact with air. So it's important, even when you're going and testing out new foundations, it's important to apply it, yes, but let it sit for a few minutes, okay? And if possible, go look at it in natural light and see how it actually looks in the sun and not in the store that has artificial lights. Okay, so, and the reason why I'm telling you guys that is because after a while, this foundation settles in and it blends into my color, if you get what I'm saying. There are those foundations that initially they may look lighter or darker, but once they settle onto your skin, it becomes your exact skin color. So you always want to make sure, especially when you're looking out for foundations or you're trying out a new foundation, test it out first, yes, but also give it time and see how it looks after a few minutes or after a while. See if it oxidizes, because you can buy a foundation or in the home, it's darker than you, it's lighter than you. So that's what I mean. As you guys can see, because of the Divas Cosmetics foundation and because we did use a pore perfecting primer as opposed to a matte primer, you guys can see the Zatka reflection on my face. This is assuming that you want a hydrating look. In the case that you would want a matte look, I would go in with a matte primer. For that, I would recommend either the Rimmel or Becca is really good. However, I think the Becca one has been discontinued, if I'm not wrong. But there are really good options in the market for that. So I'm going to blend everything out. And because I already did the concealer and I'm not going to do cream contour, the next thing we're going to be doing is powder. So everything is blended out. And then guys, especially like if you have like very deep hollows, especially on the sides of your nose, what you want to do is just slightly move your finger on your nose, just so you can be able to have that space to work on that little area. So everything is nice and blended out. So let's come in with our powder. Okay, so unfortunately for me, I don't have my loose setting powder. It ended over the weekend and it's Monday. I haven't really gotten a chance to restock it, but I am going to show you what you can do in if you don't have a loose setting powder. So I'm gonna go in with this. This is the Illegal Pro Face powder, compact powder in the shade Nude Beige. As you guys can see, it's slightly, okay, not slightly, it's a little light. It's very, very, very light as opposed to my skin color. But what I want to do with that is bring back the highlights in the areas that I placed the concealer to my face, and then I'm going to use my actual face powder on the rest of my face to set my whole face, if you guys understand what I mean. So for under my eyes, I'm going to be using this. This is a fluffy brush with a flat surface on the edges, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of that, tap away the excess, and then before I go in to apply it, I'll make sure that you see. Can you guys see? I don't know if you guys can see. Can you see this concealer area that has already formed in the under eye, in those crease areas? So what you want to do is the same place that you blended your concealer, you just come in and then blend that out as you look up. And then I want you guys to notice that I put the powder on my brush before blending it out. So now I'm not going to look down, I'm going to immediately come and then apply some of that powder specifically in that area that creases, because you want to make sure that you have mattified or you have set that area so it doesn't get a chance to crease and collect there. So immediately I'm just going to add a little bit of powder. If you do have setting powder, the loose powder that looks like baby powder, so this is a step that you can do for that. And you can always use a beauty blender if you do not prefer using a brush. But the only reason why I'm using a brush in this instance is because I really want to get into that area and make sure that I've eliminated any chance at all of under eye creasing. And then now I'm going to be going in with a slightly fluffier brush. This one is from Laya Bella. And then I'm just going to apply it on the areas that I had put some of that concealer. And I do not like putting so much powder because, especially in looks like this, I want the glowiness to maintain. And what tends to happen is if you put too much powder, then you're gonna look matte as opposed to looking glowing, dewy, ooey, gooey. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna apply it right under there now, the rest of my areas. And then I'm going to be taking now my Illegal again, but in the shade, guys, evidence that I was cutting hair. I'm gonna take it in the shade True Bronze. It broke on this side, that's why you can see the number. And for my contour, I'll use it in the shade Chestnut for if you want to use me as reference. Again, I'm gonna be using the same brush and just basically setting all of my face. So what you want to do is, so that you don't reduce the glowiness so much, is you want to set with a light layer of powder. But if you are oily and you want to make sure that everything stays put, then obviously, you know, you can go in with a little bit more powder. But because I want to maintain that sort of glowy dewiness, I'm gonna put a little bit. And then again, go in with my contour color. This is in the shade Chestnut, again from Illegal. And then I'm gonna set the areas of where I would ideally have put my contour. If you struggle with contour, whether it be cream or powder contour, let me know in the comment section and I'll make sure to do a video on that as well. Because contour shouldn't be hard. Like, it's just basically bringing back the sculpt that originally was there, or maybe it may have not been there, to your face. Guys, when I have a wig, I'm usually just like, ugh, there's so much hair everywhere. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of that, pinch my brush a little bit, and then just, because we don't also want like a super heavy contour. And as you guys can see, if you can notice, the contour color that I've used is barely noticeable. It's like 2 shades darker than me, and that's with good reason that I use that, because I don't want it to be the center of attention, because it's an everyday look, a look that you're going to the office, for example, with. I don't want it to look like so harsh and noticeable. So we're doing a very, very light layers of everything, and voila, we're done with that. If you do want to do blush, you can do blush, but for this look, I'm not going to do blush. I am going to do a little bit of highlight, but at the end. Right now, we're going to be going into our eyes. Some people find shimmer easier, some people find matte shadows easier. Today I'm going to be doing matte shadows, and for that I'm also going to be using my face powder. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is I'll go in with my, don't worry, I know it's old, I know it looks old, but the important part is here, okay, not here. So this is the important part. So what I'm going to do is, as you can see, there's already that creasing because of the concealer that we had already put there. So I'm just going to make sure to blend everything out. And even as I'm blending everything out, I'm going to prep my brush for the application of the powder. Because it's a normal everyday look, we're not going in with any color at all. We're just going in with the face powder of your color. So first thing we want to do is blend that in. And again, guys, if you do struggle with eyebrows, there is a detailed video that I've done on eyebrows that I'm going to put maybe here or here, on how you can be able to easily do your eyebrows step by step for whatever eyebrow shape you have. Guys, as long as you know the technique, like the basic skeleton of anything, you can learn how to do any type of makeup look and perfect it at that. So I'm blending it in by pressing in like so, and then I'll go in with my powder of my color, and then I'll push it in. You don't want to do this no, you want to come, press it in, stay there. Make sure you've pressed it in that area so you can avoid creasing, because sometimes if you just do like all over without actually giving it time, then what tends to happen is you end up having some creases later on. So I'm just pressing that all over and then doing the same thing to the other side, and as you guys can see, I'm putting it only on the area that I would ideally put eyeshadow, on my lid area, and then just pressing it in, and then now just blending everything out. So again, I'm going to use the same brush, just tap away the excess, and then I'm going to blend out the edge by again tapping in the edge of that. There are different methods of blending, and I have done a video on eyeshadow, but that one was for shimmer shadow, but the same sort of method applies. It's just different techniques of blending. So you can either do back and forth like this, or you can do round and round, or you can even press in. Pressing in also is a way of blending. It's just in the similar way that you would do your foundation or your concealer. You press it in just to distribute the product evenly and to make sure that it is nicely diffused. So I'm just pressing that all over, and then again I'm gonna take the same and then just also do it on my lower eyelid area, just so it can look like a nice seamless blend. And as you guys can see, I'm using the very same brush that I used for my under eyes. So I'm gonna apply some of that there. Don't worry if you see little things on my eyelashes. There's this lash glue that I've been using that is terrible, absolutely terrible, and I don't have fifi. It's just how my nostrils is set up. Okay. So blend everything out, and then I'm not going all the way till my brow arch. I'm just making sure that I'm right below there. And basically, guys, that is it. Always make sure to go back in and compare both sides and make sure that the intensity of this side is the same intensity as the other side. So now what we're going to be doing is going in with some setting powder. So I have 3 of them that I'd like to show you. So this one is LA Girl setting spray. This is a mattifying effect. We also have this one. As you can see, it has like little shinos inside there, like shimmeriness. So once you apply that, it brings back that dewiness. However, if you do get a shimmer spray, what I would recommend you doing is covering your eyes. Case in point being, unless it's your vibe of you liking glitter and like shininess all over your eyebrows and your everything on your eyes, that's cool. But I'm just not into that. I like the rest of my face to be, you know, shimmery with a little bit of glitter. So I would cover my eyes ideally. And also, if you don't have a primer, or if you don't like primers, you can go for a primer spray. It's similar to a primer, but just it preps your face for that makeup application without actually having a cream primer as the product. If you guys hear the door, it's my daughter. Mama, can you pick up the beauty blender for me? Thank you very much. So today we're going to use 2 of these. So I'm going to use the mattifying one, and then on top of that, I'm going to no, Mama. On top of that, I'm going to be using the shimmer spray. Okay, so for this,
what's a shimmer spray?
A shimmer spray is a spray with shimmers. Do you see these shimmers, the shinos that are moving all over? Yeah. If your daddy would have been here, he would have said, use your words. So taking that, Mama, careful. Yes, guys, we have children. So taking that and then spraying liberally. And then I'm now going to take my shimmer spray. I have hair all over. What? And I'm going to cover my eyes, shake it nicely. If you don't shake it nicely, it's not going to look so even. It's going to actually be a bit harder to blend because it will have actual pigments of the shimmer.
Mama, I see something inside.
Yeah, it's like a metal ball.
Yeah.
So cover my eyes. And then just do the outskirts of my face, and you guys will really tell the difference, and you'll be able to see how the shimmer looks. No, Mama, you're still too small for makeup. How the shimmer looks after application of the shimmer spray. So this is how it looks. All dry. As you can see, the glowiness is still there. Like there's still that reflection. Next, we're gonna be going in with our lip gloss. Ideally, obviously, because of today's day and age, it would be recommended to go in with a matte lipstick, but I am going in with a glossy. This is Joy Lips in the shade Freedom, and it's a beautiful chocolatey lip gloss. Just gonna apply that. And guys, case in point, you can do whatever color is suitable for you. And by that I mean that if you want to do red, if you want to do green, if you want to do orange, but I'm just doing brown because this is a normal everyday look, especially like to school or to the office, and you want to do like very neutral and toned down colors. The last thing that we're going to be doing is going in with eyeliner and mascara. As you guys can already see, I did a little bit of eyeliner and smoothed it out on the side, and a little bit of mascara as well. So I'm going to be using the Elegant Kajal Outer Liner. It's a really beautiful eyeliner and it glides on so smoothly. If you are interested in getting something like this, I got it from Vitafarm Cosmetics and Vitafarm Pharmacy and Cosmetics. And I'm just going to apply it right on my waterline. And then also on my inner lid. Like that. Go in with our mascara. For our mascara, I'm using the Maybelline Colossal Longwear Mascara. If you also want to get this, you can get it from Jumia. I got it from Jumia Kenya, and you can use my code PATTYMITCH to get 200 bob off on orders that are above 700 bob if you're shopping on the mall, which is where you get this. And if you are shopping for food also, now that we're talking about Jumia, you can also use my code PATTYMITCH and it will give you 150 bob off for your orders above 500 shillings, courtesy of Jumia Kenya. So one of the things that I want to tell you guys about mascara is whenever you want to pick up more product, don't go in and pump it like this, like with a one, like because you want to pick up more product. What that does is it pushes air into your container, so it really reduces the longevity of your mascara. Mascaras usually have a longevity of around maximum 6 months, and if you do that, it will be dry in like even maybe 3-4 months, and you don't want that. So what I would recommend doing is after you've applied your first layer or coat of mascara, and you want to go in with a second layer, put your wand in and then swirl it around like so. Anyway, I know you guys can see how cute my nails look. Okay. So you swirl it all around, and then in that way you're able to pick up the product and still keep the longevity of the mascara. So I'm just going to be going in from the base like that, out, from the base out. And when you're doing this, especially make sure that you don't poke your eye. So just come through from the base out, come through from the base out. And finally, the last thing that you're going to be going in with, and it is not a must, you can either choose to do it or not, we're going to be going in with highlighter. This is the Queen Highlighter Palette by Rina Beauty, and I'm using the same brush that we used for our powder. Tap away the excess and then just slightly just blend it on there. A little bit on my nose, and voila! So guys, this is the final look. You can wear this look literally going anywhere, whether to school, whether to work, whether to a concert, whether to an event. It's very nice and simple, and you can decide to add lashes, but I wanted to do a very nice and basic look that can take you even 10 to latest 20 minutes, maybe because of the eyebrows if you're not very conversant with how to do eyebrows. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Let me know, is this something that is an easy look to do for you guys, and is it something that you would wear to go to school or to work, or just for an everyday day-to-day look? Let me know. And also let me know things that challenge you in terms of makeup and how I can be able to help you guys to improve your makeup skills. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to anybody who you think it might be beneficial to. And until next time, bye guys.